Well, this isn't good. Oh, Marco!
That's where your mom used to work.
Mm.
Back there doing the books. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, very dismissive, Jimmy. Doesn't want to talk about it, does he?
She'd always stop what she was doing, give me a packet of Little Debbie's.
I think all those Little Debbie's put him out of business.
Was it Marco? Marco to blame.
Now you're gonna tell me what your coin collection was doing up there.
It's a long story.
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal with the coins?
Yeah, we got time. Good boy, Marco.
He pays with a couple bucks and this. I tell my dad, worth $4. Barely get the words out of my mouth. He hightails it out of here to give it back. He can't find the guy, so he tapes it to the side of the register.
No.
After about a week, he starts talking about giving it to Father Mahoney for the poor box.
My God, just give the guy $4. Do you know what I mean? Like, put $4 in the poor box. Like, I'm so okay. So, sorry, very good from Daddy-O. That is fair, absolutely fair. I give him that. Brilliant guy. Absolutely, I'm not knocking him. However, I'm knocking him a little bit because it's like, just chill. I'm watching The Good Place at the moment, and Jimmy's dad reminds me of Chidi, that character in that show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my commentaries on it. You don't have to watch the show, just watch my commentaries. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the good bit. I'm so sorry for anyone who watches The Good Place that sees this. But just quickly, Chidi in that show is so strictly adhering to his moral code that I personally think that it's untenable to live that way. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit silly. It borders on the silly. And so while his dad is so good, and absolutely, and I think if you want to be like that, go for it. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone needs to work out the recipe of what they can tolerate in their life and how they want to live their life and what they can do. Because, you know, I think what everyone can kind of put up with and live with and whatever else, I think is absolutely individual to every single person. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got different levels of what they can do. So, like, I suppose, like, looking at it from my perspective, the dad, I'm like, I couldn't live like that. I just couldn't. It's like, just chill. It's $4. It's not that big a deal. If it was like 100, I could maybe see it. But like $4, untenable. As much as he's a good person, obviously, it's a little silly. It's interesting that he was like that, because I do feel like that can warp you morally as a kid, you know, from Chuck and Jimmy, their perspective, looking in at that. It's so strictly to one side of the moral spectrum, so strongly to one side of the moral spectrum, that I think is going to affect you as a kid. You're either going to model yourself off that or come down on it maybe from my side and be like, admire it, but feel like it's a bit silly. And it's interesting, isn't it, how like Chuck and Jimmy both personified those two things. Chuck very much modeled himself after that, I think, to a certain extent, which is why we're getting a little bit of what we're getting with Chuck in this series as an adult because of that. You know what I mean? His by the book, by the law, trying to apply himself to life and his profession to that standard, to his dad's standard, to just life in general, right? Which I think honestly has warped Chuck in a really unhealthy way as well. At the same time, let's not leave Jimmy out of it. I think it's warped him to an unhealthy perspective as well, because I think unfortunately Jimmy went the other way and he was like, it's silly. Do you know what I mean? I think it's fine me saying it as an adult because I can hold that to account and look at that a little bit more balanced, right? But as a kid, your parents are everything. Everything you model yourself after. And I think especially in that flashback with the guy coming in and being like wolves and men and all that stuff, him coming in and throwing that into the mix, and then Jimmy's got that to think about as well as his dad, that I think primes him to be in that position where he's looking at his dad and being like, you're stupid for doing that. Do you know what I mean? So he's like the other end of the spectrum. I just think it's really interesting, the father figure that they had, his moral code, how strict and strong it was, and how I think both boys have taken different things from that, and actually how interesting they're at different ends of the spectrum, and explains a lot why they're in conflict so often as well.
It's a crying shame they lost this place.
They never should have bought it in the first place.
Oh?
My dad didn't have it in him.
Right.
What do you mean? Your folks worked so hard.
Yeah, they worked hard for a lot of years.
Right. For what?
Nothing.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of customers, everybody liked them.
What was that worth in the end, though? It's sad, isn't it, I suppose? Because, sorry, I'm being very cynical towards his dad as well, even though I think, I've said before, and I still stand by this, I think his dad is someone to be admired. I really do. I think if you're living in the world that we have, in the way that he was, I think that's super admirable. Absolutely. And I think everyone should get the choice to be that way and not suffer for it. Unfortunately, I do feel like his dad suffered for it. And that's why I'm saying, what was it worth, though, in the end? And I'm sure maybe if you ask the dad, he's like, well, yeah, I was happy. You know, that's how I wanted to live my life, and I think that's fair enough. What I was going to say was, I think it's really interesting how Breaking Bad and now Better Call Saul are demonstrating how you can really only suffer if you play by the rules. I think that's a really powerful message, and I think I talked about it a lot in Breaking Bad and Walter and what made him go where he went, and how if the systems in place that we have, you know, healthcare system, proper pay for a role like a teacher, you know, all of these different social things, economic things that exist in our world today, how they don't cater for the people that play by the rules and live their lives in ways that you're meant to and that are good and considered good and aspired towards by everyone else that maybe doesn't live like that. We hold it up to this high esteem, but But I think these shows, especially now, like right here with the father, where you know, we're in a dilapidated shop that is not being used anymore. I don't know if the father's dead at this point. He's certainly not around. And it's this image of, you play by the rules, you're a good person, this is what you get, you know? And I think Walter is the living embodiment of that as well. It just screams this message of, we need to improve things, man. People turn to crime because they're not looked after by the systems that we live in and we govern ourselves by. And that's an issue.
He could have made it work.
Right. Ah, lucky coins. Hello and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday. That's right, this show that happens every single Sunday until we are finished with it. Today is episode 8, Slip, and I hope you've got your flamingos. Let's get on with the episode. Mike. It's wild that I can see an image in the show, say a character, and be right about who we're following. Oh, okay.
I found a dead body. No, I don't want to give my name. I was
Who was that? Was that the bystander?
That is where I was physically when it began.
Interesting. Good. The doctor. I like this.
Look at the trend.
Later in the session, I'd like to give you some exercises.
This is good. I love this. This is absolutely what should be happening. I love that they're in a room.
It won't be long before I'm back to work full time with no accommodations. I haven't argued a case in almost 3 years, so that's next.
Oh, bless him.
These lights turned back on.
Ooh, I think he's moving a bit quick, isn't he?
I want this house to be full of music.
Oh,
I want to have a dinner party.
yeah. We're finally seeing it. I don't know when I talked about it, maybe a few episodes ago, about how this has been affecting him and how it would affect anyone, right? Being isolated for, 3 years. Nothing. No walking to the shops, no seeing people day-to-day basis. Basically seeing what Howard, Jimmy, and we're seeing here, he has missed it. He's missed it all and he just wants it back. He does. And I think he's a bit ahead of himself. I think the doctor's going to, slow his roll a little bit. As much as he prescribed almost this seclusion to himself, he didn't want it and he misses his life. And hey, I like that. It's good. It gives me hope that he has the motivation to get to a place where he can get back to that. I also don't feel like he's gonna. I don't know that he will. I don't trust the show to give me that, really.
People in here spilling out onto the lawn.
He's running before he's walked, that's all.
I want to be surrounded by friends and colleagues.
Bless him.
Those are excellent goals.
Yes.
But Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
It's important to give yourself time.
You've
Just begun a journey that could take years.
Surely you'd admit that every case is different.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people that maybe don't have the same mental condition that Chuck has, but, a mental condition nonetheless, I do think a lot of people go through this, right? They see improvement and they're like, right, brilliant, awesome, I can get back to how it was. And it's difficult, innit? I don't know how realistic that is, in this case at least.
Appreciate every step forward, but modulate your expectations.
I think he's going to have to fall again to really take her words to heart. I don't think he's quite going in at the moment.
It was proven to me, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that there was a battery
Right.
almost next to my skin for the better part of 2 hours.
Didn't feel anything.
And I felt nothing.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually, and maybe as callous maybe as this is going to sound, what had it been? About 3 years, and he hadn't been making any progress with this at all. And as traumatic as it was, and as much as you could have absolutely probably done it better, I say that, was there any other way? But that's my point. Was there any other way to make him believe that? His own words right there, it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Maybe that's what it took to jumpstart him forward onto this path, do you know what I mean? So like I say, as callous as it might sound, the court case might have helped him a great deal.
This condition, to me, it's as real as that chair. But
To everyone else,
what if it's not?
scary.
What if it's all in my head?
Hard to cope with that.
If it's not real, then what have I done?
Dangerous, I think, to put the blame on himself. What have I done? The question, I would rephrase it, I would be like, what happened? And look, I've been asking that since I first learned about his condition. What happened? Where was it? What was it? Got theories, right? I mean, we saw the flashback not long ago with Rebecca and then breaking up. But I do wonder, I don't think it's just that. I feel like it's a combination of things. But I don't know.
I gotta hand it to you.
Oh, another one?
The busiest weekday we've had in the last 6 months.
Really? It worked, huh? Kind of me surprised.
Get him in the makeup, we can carve this.
Oh God, he doesn't look happy, man.
Excuse me, not now.
Well, behave yourself. Don't take it out on her.
I just got off the phone with the station.
Uh-oh.
The first one was gratis. That's my treat.
Yeah.
$6,500.
Yeah, the station just quoted me $450 per.
Call the station, ask them how much they charge for production.
That's true.
Why do we need 7 new ones in the first place?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What's to stop us from paying the station to just keep running the one we have?
That's a good point.
It's not what we agreed to. How about that for starters?
You've been rumbled, Jimmy.
He did give us the first one for free.
He did.
Okay, how about this?
Like, you wouldn't have that without him. You know, you wouldn't be able to rerun it without him.
How about we pay you $450 and then we take it from there?
No, but that's for the airtime, though. Not the production of the commercial, mate. Haggle, Jimmy. We got this, mate.
That commercial, it doesn't actually belong to you.
Go on, copyright him.
Intellectual property of Saul Goodman Productions.
I don't feel like that's official, though.
You can't run it without my permission.
Okay, want to play?
Oh, God.
We are not going to pay you $6,500 for something that we can do ourselves.
I don't think you guys appreciate, though, how much expertise it takes to actually shoot a good commercial.
Seriously, excuse us.
All right, twins, synchronizing. How dare you? How dare you give in to the cliche? Yeah, unfortunately, mate, these guys might be a lost cause.
Put that camera back up, roll it, point it in my direction.
Really? Oh, he's conning him.
No, if you're...
Oh, he's going to trip on it.
Best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Oh, that was a good fall, man. Fair play to Bob, mate. Like, there's an art to falling and looking like it hurts without hurting yourself. He might hurt himself. I don't know. But that was a good one.
I got a friend, Billy got one. I told him about the job you're doing for us. I know he'd love to talk.
Ooh. Stay in the room. Stay in the room, Kim. Don't get distracted.
Remember, Kim's got her hands full with Utah.
She really does, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, she's proven she can fill whatever we throw at her and then some.
That's the problem. She's done such a good job and she's working overtime for these guys that she's showing them that she can do more. This is the thing, you know, those that excel at whatever job they do are only showing their bosses that they can handle more than they should be handling, and therefore they have to work harder than everybody else.
I promised you Mesa Verde would be my sole focus.
Nice.
Hey there.
Seriously, Howard?
Howard.
Kim, sit. I insisted.
Ooh, still got a little bit of a hold over her, hasn't he? The immediate sit, and she fucking got on board quick, didn't she? Understandable. I think she's holding a lot of trauma for HHM, especially with Howard. It's not just going to go away.
I saw you got that branch approved on your original timeline after all.
We did, thanks to his wife.
Yeah, look at Kim.
Seems like just yesterday she was logging hours in doc review.
All right, mate.
Always a pleasure to see one of our proteges spread her wings and...
Yeah, Paige can see it.
Well, I'll get out of your hair. Best of luck to all of you.
All right, stirrer.
I'm so sorry. Would you excuse me for just a moment?
Yeah, she was a little bit rocked by that. What's she gonna do? Is she gonna con... Sorry, I'm totally on that mindset now. Is she gonna con him? What's up, buddy?
Kim, hello again.
Howard, sit. I insist.
Ah,
Just needed to give Howard something.
power play. It is. It's a subtle power thing. You know, it's like, no, sit, and then stands above the person.
Howard, sit. I insist. Sorry to interrupt.
I love that she pushed him back down. It's like, no, you sit down, son.
To Henry, Nick.
Marie Austin. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is that her tuition? The gift. Yeah. Power. Taking, that's it. Again, Kim taking back her power. You know, him coming to the table and doing what he did. Again, stirring, mate. And he did. It was a subtle power play. No, sit, I insist. Stay down. I'm the one above you. Do you know what I mean? And again, he belittled her. Again, this trauma. And like, you know, maybe it was a slight trauma reaction, but it's a valid trauma reaction, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we all saw how he treated her and the behavior that she had to suffer under Howard and HHM. And the gift, the money. I mean, I said at the time when he offered it and he was like, no, gift to you. And it didn't feel like a gift at the time. It wasn't a gift, I don't think. Again, I think Howard is a man of subtle power plays, right? He wants to be that powerful one in the room. I don't think he's necessarily doing it in a way that is super overbearing. I think in Kim's case, it can be, and it is, and it has been. I think in general, it's probably more subtle. But I think he does do that without thinking. You know, he's almost taught himself that he's got to be in control of every situation, be the top guy in every situation. That can leach out and affect the people around him. And I think especially in the way that Kim was affected, it's so insidious for her now. And this is her being like, no, there's your gift. You have no ties, no power over me anymore. You gave nothing to me. That power's mine.
I'd be happy to speak to him. I'll put him together with a firm that'll take very good care of him. Great. Okay, filing requirements are very similar to...
Don't you dare come back over. No.
Again, Kim?
Okay, I thought he was going to come back over. He's going to come out, I think, though. We're going to get a conversation. I want her to confront him. I think, yeah, he's going to confront her and be like, what's that about?
I
right?
think it's pretty
And
self-explanatory.
say it, Kim. Tell him why.
But it never sat right with me that you covered my law school loans.
Seemed to sit right at the time.
Excuse you.
Appreciate the gift, but now that I'm able to afford it, I want to pay you back.
Well, you appreciate the gift.
Yeah.
Howard.
I'm doing damage control, and I'm doing it 3 meals a day for the past 2 weeks with every one of our clients.
Oh, poor you. Oh, you have to go to these fancy restaurants and have meals and schmooze and be the big man. Oh, cry me a f***ing river, you rich, privileged little f***. Do you hear yourself, Howard? Like, the big man had to actually work because he got rid of Kim. Because usually he'd just pawn it all off on her. Oh, you got to do your job. You're being paid the big bucks. You got to wear nice suits all day. You got to take big clients out for meals. Like, shut up.
I did everything in my power to defend my client.
Oh, is that what you're calling it?
That's the job, Howard.
Yeah. No, she's right. Howard being a bit of a child here.
By the way, it was all very convenient for you to ignore Chuck's illness when it suited you.
Ah, yes, we're getting back. We're getting back to actually the end of last episode. And the stuff with Jimmy and the insurance, like, they did hide that from them. They hid Chuck. And I love that she brought that up because he's trying to attack her integrity. And it's like, excuse you, Howard.
So I take you out of the mailroom, put you through law school,
Oh,
mentor you,
stop.
and then when you leave and stab me in the back, that's my fault.
Stab.
It's my fault. I'm not cashing this.
Wow. You bitter little man. He can't give up the power. He can't give her that back. He can't give her her autonomy. What a bitter small man you are in this moment, Howard. He has to hold something over her. He needs to be rewarded for all of the stuff that... And like, look, I'm not trying to take that away. I've said before previously, good on him for giving her the opportunity, right? Putting her through the mail, doing that. But he's using that now. You don't get to do that and then hold it over someone. You can't. That not only doesn't make you a good person, that makes you a person for doing that, for holding it over them and beating them with it and being like, now you owe me. No, I'm sorry, but Kim paid that back in full when she was working for you, and you were abusing her work, her professionalism and her work ethic. And not only that, you punished her for it, mate. And now that she actually stood up for herself, when she stood up for herself, left, he can't take that. And like I said, he came over to their table, and I think there was a little bit of bitterness laced in there too, of, you know, Kim is sat with the clients that HHM should have had in his mind, and also he's judging her for doing her job in the hearing. I'm sorry, but like in that scenario with Chuck and Jimmy, you can talk about Chuck and Jimmy all day. Kim, sorry, is a neutral party in that room. She was a neutral party doing her job as a lawyer in that room. As much as you take her out of that room and it's personal because she, you know, she's on Jimmy's side, as soon as she walked into that room, she was the professional lawyer that Howard would have been. He's trying to undermine her as a personal, as a professional. He's trying to bring her down again. But it's these power plays, right? He came over, made her sit. She came back, redressed that, gave the check, and he's come back out again because he's like, no, I need to be above her. And he's come back out to tear her down again. I suddenly understand their relationship. So for context, I shot the last 3 episodes back to back. So I've seen up to 3 times 10. Watching this back, it's so interesting now that I've seen Howard and Chuck in an episode or 2. Kim was to Howard what Howard was to Chuck. I finally believe Howard when I remember he said to Kim he was hard on her because he expected more from her. In Kim's position, Howard would never have left the firm because he didn't. When Chuck was no doubt riding Howard when he was mentoring / partnered with him back in the day, Howard was loyal to him. He took the pain and the workload, I'm sure, and got on with it. And because of that, he expected Kim to do the same, I think. Looking at this now, I realise this bitterness and betrayal he feels is coming from this really personal place. Let me be clear though, I think Kim was still in the right to leave. I think Howard staying with Chuck all that time was his choice and Kim deserves hers, and he needs to come to terms with that. As I'm sat here, I haven't seen the fallout from Howard and Chuck's breakup later, so it'll be interesting if, because of that, he looks at his and Kim's relationship in a different way and they can come to find common ground. Perhaps that'll even make him apologise. Sorry, I'm in full speculation mode now. Anyway, should probably have inserted this into that episode in the future, but watching this scene back was a real eureka moment of, I get it now, and I didn't want to forget.
All Jimmy and I did was show the situation for what it is. And if you are hiding that from your clients, well, Howard, that's on you.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways, Howard, mate. The episode is called Slip, and I wonder who is going to. Because honestly, when I saw the episode title, I thought Nacho. Might not be though. You know, he makes a slip and he gets caught. Practicing? Good. I like that he's been thorough. That is a risky maneuver, mate. Just dropping it. Hey, this is a big step, though. It's funny, isn't it, that I use the example of walking to the grocery store for this stuff. It's important. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting the effect that we usually see with him. The distortion in the sound. It's still there. Very subtle, though. They are some shiny apples, mate. Damn. Someone on set came and polished. They can't have. No. Is this what apples look like in America? That's insanely shiny, dude. No, I don't trust that. I don't trust it at all. It looks nice. It looks crunchy and juicy, but too crunchy and juicy. I know how I sound, okay? I sound insane. But I'm just saying, I don't trust an apple that shiny. No, that's not true. I don't know why I'm focusing on this, but I'm going to finish. It's not that I don't trust a shiny apple, right? If I see one shiny apple, I'm like, damn, I'm going to try that apple. I want to try that apple. It's usually not as crunchy as it looks, though. I'll tell you that for free. So to see, it's deceiving. But I'm just saying so many in a row, like they're all shiny, mate. No chance. Do you want any apple with those chemicals, mate? Oh, damn. Oh, damn. This gauntlet. He's doing all right, though. You got it. God damn. Mate, you've done well. Go home.
Still need this pack of Gatwood oil by EOD.
Hey,
Did they give him a guitar?
I sold the rest of my ads.
Really, all of them?
I saw you yesterday. You were fine.
That was Tuesday.
Oh my God, Kim.
That's my half.
Jimmy, I wasn't...
Just take it so we're square, all right?
Yeah, I think what you said last episode, actually. It's funny, isn't it, going back to that last conversation at the end of last episode with the insurance lady. Funny trying to pick out what he was being truthful about. But I did say in a comment, actually, in a reply to a comment on that video. I do think, because I watched it back, obviously, in the edit, that he started, I think the breakdown when he broke into tears, I think it was genuine. I think that was genuine feeling emotion coming through. It was all too much and it got to him. And then I think there was a shift halfway through and he used it to his advantage and he hammed it up a little bit, I think, towards the end. But I think we just saw the thing that he said about Kim, his girl was disappointed in him or whatever he said. I think that was true. I think we just saw that was true. And I think that gives credence to at least the first half of that conversation, that breakdown being legitimate and honest. And again, I'd repeat, she wasn't, mate. I don't think she is.
Sorry.
Chill.
You don't have to push yourself like this.
Yeah, good.
Take some time.
Yeah.
Plan your next move.
Yes, good.
I could cover our expenses for a while. What I'm saying is, I looked at the numbers and I can carry us.
I appreciate the thought, but no.
Jimmy, man, give a little bit. He's being so stubborn.
I mean, you believe me, right?
Yes.
This is the thing. There's something sad about him asking that. This is a side effect, I think, of Slippin' Jimmy. You know, this thing that I don't think he can control is that when he is honest, he does look for approval. He gets so used to those looks, I think, those little micro tells. And I mean, we've seen already that he thinks that Kim is disappointed in him, which I think is paranoia. I think it's his insecurity coming through, having people look at him certain ways, interpreting that wrong because of those insecurities and acting because of that. You know, he's letting it really get to him. I think we saw that last episode. I think we're seeing it here too. Like I said, I mentioned last episode, rock bottom, and I think he's still kind of there. I mean, like I say, going back to the addiction conversation, I think he's in the throes of a relapse right now, especially with the back thing and what he did at the guitar store. He's very much at rock bottom right now. And I think in that place of desperation, paranoia, kind of thinking like, oh, I've done it again. Everyone's so annoyed with me, ashamed of me. You know, Kim's the closest person to him. And I think all of those feelings internally are kind of like attacking him at all times, right? I think that's where he is mentally right now. And I think that his question there says all of that. He needs her to verbalize that she believes him. He needs to know that there's trust there. He needs to know that she still loves him, despite any of the things that he's attacking himself with. Their love and their relationship's still there. And I think in that, small as it is, subtle as it is, that question of like, you believe me? It's almost like, that was my immediate reaction was like, that seems out of place, because it is. But I think the reason it feels out of place is because that's where it's coming from. It's not coming from an organic conversation. It's coming from his internal miasma of guilt and shame-ridden, internal agonizing.
Is it too late to get a hold of the courier? Cancel it. I thought I might have had to refer you to a colleague, but...
Oh, God.
I think I may have a solution to your problem myself.
You shouldn't be taking on more, dude. What did we see there? Because she changed her mind. I think we're seeing the power play in Kim there as well. This internal... She was rocked by Howard and that meeting. And like I say, the back and forth between them of vying for that power. And I think to a certain extent, there was some of that coming through in the conversation with Jimmy. You know, she offered to cover his half 100% for a little bit. She did the numbers. She was like, yeah, I'll do that, right? And I think now that I think about it, I suppose there is a power play in that a little bit. I'm the big man. Don't worry about it. I can do that. I have that power. I can do that for you. Let me do that for you. And then Jimmy didn't let her have that. And I think right now, I think, like I say, this almost trauma response of this feeling powerless, you know, that she experienced with that running with Howard, I think was eating away at her, to the point that I think maybe she needed that from Jimmy. She needed to cover both of their halves to feel that power almost, right? That I think that there was, I don't think that's healthy, by the way. I don't think, you know, that's something she obviously needs to deal with as well, but I think it's absolutely valid too. I think, like I say, I'm not going to rehash all the trauma. I mean, I've talked about it already previously, this episode, between her and Howard, but I think because of what happened at the restaurant, there was that it didn't really end with her necessarily on top. You know, he came back out, ripped up her check and threw that in her face, and it kind of ended almost neutrally, right? Which I think to Kim probably leaves a little bit of a gap, you know, a black hole of like, I didn't quite get the meal that I wanted from that encounter. And I think because of that, there was that black hole in her. There was that like emptiness in her, that lack of satisfaction from that encounter. And I think she maybe needed to fill that, right? And have that power, you know, and like I say, not healthy, not great, but I think that was the emotional space that was happening right there. Sorry, I'm asking this question because I was like, why did she change her mind there? And to me, that makes sense, considering how the conversation went and what happened in that conversation to make her feel that way, right? What did she do? She tried to kind of almost not assert power. Well, she did though, really. Tried to assert her power, professional power, in a way of like, no, don't worry, I can do that. Let me do that for you. She was almost taking on a Howard-esque role, right? You know, Howard gave her money. She was almost doing the same thing to Jimmy there. And because he said no, she still has that feeling of emptiness. And I think her taking back and taking that guy on and proving to herself that she can do everything. She's a better lawyer than Howard could ever be, right? It's a seeking of power to fill that emptiness, I think.
Are those groceries? We do have an issue we need to discuss. It concerns your malpractice insurance.
Oh, damn. No AC. Yikes on that, mate. That is our life in the UK. I swear to God.
You're good.
Oh, poor Domingo.
This one looks funny.
Oh, mate, you need a new tissue. I'm telling you right now, that looks soaked.
See, is it fake?
Nice. Nice. Come on. Come on, baby. You gotta be quicker, dude. Ooh. I feel like there's a subtle shake to his hands, which I really like. Okay, gotta go back.
Took care of that problem over on 5th. Shut up.
Oh, but he's trying to help. Keep doing the good work, Carlos. What's the move here? You know, you can't do the same thing. Oh, you gotta switch. Of course you do. Mate. I like how we're lingering on this scene and we are actually seeing the full switch, how it would work. Do you know what I mean? I do feel like TV shows, movies, they make it so quick. It's like, but done. But it would be this. It would be slow. You'd have to do it over a period of time to allay suspicion. And I like that we're seeing the process of that and how nerve-wracking it is. And it's more believable for this as well, because this is how you'd have to do it.
Do I nectar more espresso?
Oh my guy, I feel like this isn't the way to go. Maybe I'd get it on the way, like, dude. My God. Okay, fine. Whatever, TV show rules. But well done, mate. Well done. You alright, mate? Yeah.
McGill, keep it moving.
My guy, you gotta chill. Are you just stood there watching him?
It's my kid. She's sick. She caught pneumonia at daycare. You can go, but you're not getting credit.
This guy, man, busting balls.
$700 and you're gone.
Wow.
You're not getting your hours.
If you don't, I'm gonna sue you. This is the land of the free and the home of the lawsuit. I can also sue you for failure to approve community service hours.
Jimmy absolutely read up on this after that first incident.
Out here, you might be King Douche Nozzle, but in court, you are little people.
Yeah, it's funny how Jimmy's hitting the nail on the head. As much as this guy is King Douche Nozzle, he absolutely is. Jimmy's also using the unfairness and inequality that is inherent in the law. Jimmy's hit the nail on the head, right? This guy is little people in the way that a lot of people are when it comes to the law, or can be when it comes to the law. So it's interesting how like he's exposing and using something that to me I'm like, it sucks that exists, that shouldn't exist, and it shouldn't exist. It puts you in this place of like, he is King Douche Nozzle. Rinse him, man. Grab those nipples and twist.
Fine.
I feel like this is gonna burn Jimmy though, and this guy's gonna do some reading. I feel like after this he's that kind of bitter. I feel like 700, mate. That boy's good. Again though, Slippin' Jimmy, right? How many times have we seen Slippin' Jimmy since I started to say, I think last episode, that he was gonna relapse, right? I was seeing the signs of it, and we've seen him, I want to say at least 3, maybe 4 times now, between when I said that and now, which is like an episode's length, which is crazy. Again, rock bottom, which is not a good place for him to be. Mate, put that money away. Yeah, and look at that. This is the problem now. He's seeing that slipping Jimmy works again. That's the issue. That's the problem. That's why he keeps going back. Part of why he keeps going back.
I've got cash I can't spend. You opened this place to solve a similar problem.
Yeah.
It was a one-time arrangement.
I think Gus is going to press him here. I don't think that's good enough. Gus has got the upper hand. I think this is a point where Gus is going to be like, work for me.
The Salamancas.
If they were to take notice,
Yeah.
there would be consequences.
Big time.
Would 20% overcome this difficulty?
I would not take money from your family.
What a sweetheart. Boom. We're in business. Okay. That's a strong handshake right there, man. Oh, all right. Yeah, interesting. I'm going to kind of wrap this up quick because I've waffled on a little bit this episode. But what I will say, very interesting what we've seen, I think, in regards to the emotional and mental states of everybody involved, actually, in the show. I mean, Jimmy most of all, right? I said it repeatedly. He's at rock bottom. He's not doing okay. Kim, I think, and Howard as well. I think we saw what's affecting them. I mean, you know, all of these issues the main issues almost that these characters are suffering with. I think Kim with this power dynamic in her that comes from a place and stems from a place where she wants to be professionally respected and successful. Howard, I think this firm's reputation and the power that he needs to have as well. Mike kind of puttering away as much as he was a small touch on this episode. Really big things, I think, from his arc at the end there and bringing him closer to Gus. Yeah, and it's interesting, I think, with all of that said, all of these characters struggling and that being on show this episode for the most part. I think Chuck actually is making some progress, but it's interesting how subtly I think he is, like I said, running before he can walk. He's setting himself up for a fall. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, but he's kind of like the sole person making progress on the things plaguing him, which is it's nice to see. A nice little switch up as well, considering how the status quo usually goes with the show. And slip meant Jimmy falling over. Of course it did. Sorry, I was like, where was the slip? Who slipped? Did I miss it? Was there something subtle? Jimmy. Yeah. And I suppose it's interesting how the name of the episode plays on Nacho's storyline. Like I said, I thought that was where that was going to be. And yeah, flipped my expectations there with that interesting, wily show. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. That was Slip. That was episode 8 of season 3. If you liked this video, please do subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Thank you, as always, to my beautiful patrons for early access YouTube videos over there. If you're interested, link in the description below. And other than that, thank you so much. Watch this video for more of the same. And with that said, thank you. I'll see you soon.